So Cursor 2.0 just came out, and for those of you who watch my channel, you know that I like using Claude Code a lot, and I also use Cursor a lot. But one new feature I do want to talk about with Cursor 2.0 is this Agents panel, but more specifically, there is a work tree option where you can kick off multiple concurrent LLMs across your codebase at the same time, and then you can switch through the results of them to see which one performed the best. What I have seen a lot with coding with LLMs is that these different models have different strengths and weaknesses. And sometimes you want to kick off maybe one or two different models to see if, for example, GPT-5 Codex can solve it more elegantly than, for example, Claude Code or something. So from a UI perspective, the main change I'm seeing is that there's an Agents tab and an Editor tab. The Editor tab will take you back to your normal VS Code editor. And Agents over here allows you to basically create a new agent where you can prompt it, and you can actually change how many models you want to kick off at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and say use multiple models. And then I'm going to select Sonnet 4.5. We're going to use Codex here. And we could also try, I don't know, Haiku and see how this does. Okay, and if you have different models, you can also include those. But I'm going to go ahead and just say, try these four concurrently with my work tree mode. And I'm going to prompt this to add in a brand new feature to my game. Right now, I want to add in a flamethrower. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of put some stats about how a flamethrower should kind of work. And I'm also going to tag a file I already have. So if I say doc/adding a weapon, that's going to give all these models a little bit more context of it as to like how someone could go and add a weapon into this code base. Okay, now let's go ahead and prompt out. I want you to add a new weapon called a flamethrower, which allows a person to click and hold the attack button, and that'll spew flames across the map and catch other zombie enemies on fire. Remember to also add a flamethrower ammo type. You can reuse some existing sprite locations when defining the new weapon config or the item config, so that I don't have to waste time making new sprites. Okay, so we have a pretty decent prompt here, and I'm going to go ahead and just kick this off with these four models that I have selected, and you will see how powerful this can potentially be. Granted, this is going to use a lot more of your tokens. Kicking off four models at the same time is going to use a lot more tokens. And you might argue that this is kind of silly, but I will say that this is a great feature because now we can actually test. We can like A/B test these models on the same feature in parallel or concurrently and actually get better feedback as to which model does which thing the best. One thing I'll give Composer 1, and I tried this on a live stream, I asked it to add a weapon, and it came closest to adding everything that I needed, and it also finished in like a third of the time than it took for all these other agents. Or sorry, I should say models. As you can tell, it's already done 10 out of 13 to-dos, and these others still haven't really like finished through their to-dos. They're probably still traversing the code base, trying to figure out how my code is set up, even though I gave them a document file for context, so it actually knows like how to add a file. Okay, so now that the first one, Composer 1 model is done, you'll see all of the files that it changed. It added a flamethrower item, it added some flamethrower ammo, it updated the weapon config. You can actually review these directly in a panel over here if you want to. I personally like just saying apply all. And then I'll go to the editor diff view, and like this is how I kind of would rather, look through that stuff. So we could review all the code. I'm just going to run the game and just see if I can find a flamethrower object. I should be able to spawn one too. So I'm going to say spawn flamethrower. And let's see if it spawned one. It did. It doesn't have a sprite, but I need to spawn flamethrower ammo. Let's see if we got that. All right, so first try, this is what the flamethrower kind of looks like. So if I spawn a zombie, let's see if we can like catch it on fire. Okay, so it's working pretty good. All right, the only issue is that the sprite is not showing anything, but luckily I know how to fix that. I can go to weapon config. I can find the flamethrower. We're going to change the positions to match like an existing sprite. I think I can also go to the item config. I think I have a flamethrower ammo. We can just go ahead and reuse like the grenade launcher stuff. And I think that should be good now. So now I should be able to go here and just refresh, spawn flamethrower. Okay, there we go. There's some ammo for it. I had to actually make sprites for this. Okay, but now we got a weapon that shoots some fire everywhere. Now this is a pretty good start, but I may tweak it to have it like actually lay the fires on the ground once it hits a certain distance. I think that'd be a better experience. All right, so let's click back on the agent tab and go to our flamethrower and notice that Codex is still working through all its to-do list items. So it's super, super slow. Sonnet 4.5 looks like it's done. One thing I recommend them doing is they should put a time, like how long did it take Composer 1 to finish? Because that could be a really good marketing aspect for Cursor. So I could show that Composer 1 finished in like a third of the time than Sonnet or something. But I don't think there's a way to like see the elapsed time for these prompts. Anyway, so what we're going to do is I'm going to undo the apply for Composer 1. And we are going to go back to Sonnet, and we're going to go ahead and just apply this and just make sure that we can test it with the Sonnet 4.5 model. So now we have a different set of file changes, and I'm going to go ahead and just like hard restart the API just in case, and then also just hard refresh my UI just in case. But let's test this out. So now, can I spawn a flamethrower? Okay. And then can I spawn flamethrower ammo? Okay. And this is the implementation for Sonnet 4.5, which notice it's not even using my flame sprites. Let's see if we can actually spawn a zombie and catch it on fire. So that does work. Spawn a couple of these, and let's just go ahead and catch these zombies on fire a little bit. I do like how this implementation doesn't hurt them the moment they catch on fire. It actually like takes time for the flames to hurt the zombie. But you'll notice that there's small tweaks in implementation. In overall, Composer 1 implemented it basically correctly with the flame sprites I already have, although it didn't render the sprites over here, and it didn't render the sprites for the ammo, which required me to go in and kind of fix it. But I do think Composer 1 is very promising, and also this whole feature, being able to prompt different agents, I think is very useful as well. Because even on this game, I was trying to implement some client-side prediction with like the players moving around to make it seem better. And Sonnet 4.5 just could not solve it. I had to reprompt it like 3 or 4 times, and still it could not figure out what I was asking. I switched over to GPT-5, and it solved it the first time. So again, that's my argument of like these different models have different strengths in like solving the problem. And I think having this multi-agent type of concurrent feature is actually pretty game-changing. So I do think Claude Code has a little bit of competition now. I was using Claude Code extensively. You can see here I always have a Claude Code terminal open, and that's basically what I prompt to do my changes in my code base. But now with this new approach in Cursor 2.0 and this new model, which is actually phenomenally fast, and it works pretty well from what I've seen, at least for this game I'm building out, I might just start coding with this a little bit and see how well it does over the next couple of days. And then maybe I'll make a follow-up video about my results in Composer 1. But overall, definitely check out Cursor 2.0, update to the latest version, and give it a shot. They also added a plan mode, which is very similar to Claude Code, so nothing too impressive there. They're basically, all these tools are basically building off of each other. But I do think that this is a very powerful, like using the Git work trees to concurrently add a feature or fix a bug. Very, very useful in some scenarios. But yeah, that's about it. Codex is still running, so this model is extremely slow, or maybe it's just being very thorough. I don't really know, and I don't really care about checking out Haiku 4.5. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. This feature is not too complex, so it doesn't really matter. But hope you guys enjoy this video. Have a good day, and happy coding.